I didn't know what marriage meant until I signed the papers, but I was about to find out that some vows come with invisible chains. I woke before dawn, my head pounding with exhaustion and confusion. The night had been long, not just from the adrenaline of saving him, but from the weight of what I had done. I was married. Technically. Legally. Tied to a man I barely knew in a world I didn't understand. And yet a strange part of me didn't want to undo it. I slipped out of the bed carefully, not wanting to wake him. But when I reached the study, there he was, standing by the window, hands clasped behind his back, his gaze fixed on the city lights below. Even in the dim morning light, he looked unshakable, commanding in a way that made my stomach twist. "You're up early," he said without turning. "I couldn't sleep," I admitted, my voice quieter than I intended. "Too much to think about." He finally looked at me, and for the first time I saw something other than control in his expression. Curiosity. Almost concern. "You're thinking too much," he said softly. "And that's dangerous in my world." I swallowed. I didn't mean to get involved in your world. I only meant to save your life." His eyes narrowed slightly as if weighing my words. "And yet you did," he said finally. "That's what matters." I wanted to argue, to tell him I wasn't strong enough for this, that I wasn't meant to be part of his life. But the truth was undeniable. I couldn't take back my choice. And something in me didn't want to. Breakfast that morning was quiet. The staff, who clearly knew him, moved around with practiced precision. I felt out of place, small, unnoticed except by him. He watched me, not in a commanding way but in a way that made me feel both exposed and protected. "You don't have to pretend to understand all this yet," he said quietly. "You'll learn. Slowly." I nodded, unsure how to respond. I wanted to protest, to assert my independence, but his tone carried an authority I couldn't ignore. And then, unexpectedly, he smiled faintly, almost teasingly. "Careful," he said. "You're making it too easy to like you." I blinked. What?" He smirked. I said, "Be careful." I wanted to roll my eyes, to laugh, but the tension in the room made my throat tight. Something about the way he said it, half warning, half amusement, sent a strange flutter through me. I shook my head, trying to shake off the feeling. The morning passed with small lessons in his world. How to move quietly in his house. How to notice the blind spots in security. How to handle attention without panicking. Every instruction was precise, but each one came with subtle hints of care. His hand brushed mine when adjusting my stance. His eyes lingered when explaining something potentially dangerous. I hated how aware I was of him. By afternoon, the tension between us shifted. Not drastically, but enough that I felt it. Moments of quiet connection formed, like small cracks in the wall between us. He didn't speak often, but when he did, it carried weight. "You're unlike anyone I've met," he said finally as we reviewed security maps. I hope that's good," I said cautiously, unsure of what he meant. "It is," he replied, voice low. "And dangerous, for both of us." I frowned. Dangerous. He didn't answer immediately. Just looked at me with a steady intensity that made me want to look away, but I couldn't. "You make me consider things I haven't considered in years. Things I didn't think I was capable of." My chest tightened. I wanted to ask him what he meant, but the words caught in my throat. For the first time, I realized how much I wanted to understand him, and how terrifying that realization was. Later, we were interrupted by the sound of a car approaching the estate. I froze, remembering the men from the clinic. Alexander noticed my tension immediately. "They're testing us," he muttered, more to himself than to me. "To see if you're a liability." I swallowed hard. "A liability?" He turned to me, eyes sharp. "If you weren't here, they wouldn't know where to look. That makes you important, and dangerous." My stomach dropped. I realized that my small act of saving him had pulled me entirely into his world. I wasn't just a bystander anymore. I was a part of this life, whether I liked it or not. As evening fell, he invited me to dinner. I hesitated, unsure if I was ready for normalcy, or intimacy, but agreed. Dinner was tense at first, awkward even as we navigated conversation and silence. Yet small moments, when he noticed I mispronounced a word or when he shared a minor frustration, made me laugh. That brief, fragile connection terrified me. After dinner, he suggested a walk on the balcony. I followed, curious, cautious, aware of the distance between us that had both grown and diminished in equal measure. "You're different," he said softly. I hope that's good," I replied, though my voice wavered. "It's dangerous," he said. "For both of us." I swallowed, understanding the truth in that statement. And then for a moment our hands brushed. Neither of us pulled away. That simple touch, brief as it was, sent a current through me I didn't know I wanted to feel. That night, as I lay in the unfamiliar bedroom, I realized something I couldn't ignore. I was already thinking about him when he wasn't there. About his words, his glance, the quiet intensity in his presence. About how safe he made me feel, even when everything in his world screamed danger. And that thought was both terrifying and thrilling.